Hey everyone, welcome back to the I Believe podcast. I'm Megan. Today we have a wonderful guest. We have Nick Konovaloff. Welcome, Nick.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you today. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely, we're excited to have you. We love a patient story. So thank you so much for giving us the time and bringing your story. Thank you for being willing to share it.
No, absolutely. It's my pleasure. Hopefully, your guest gathers some value or something they can relate to as it relates to my story. It was actually April of 2018 that I had a routine ophthalmologist appointment. And frankly, I'd only maybe been to the ophthalmologist one other time, but I just kept feeling I needed to schedule that appointment, but nothing was bothering me. Then about a week before the appointment, I just was telling my wife, Mel, it feels like something's on my eye or in my eye. Finally made it to the appointment, and two technicians and two ophthalmologists later, I really felt pretty confident that it's not good. It is cancer, but it was outside their scope of practice, so they didn't want to say that C word. But I had an appointment to go see Dr. Tony Tsai with Retinol Consultants. And it actually wasn't for about 2 weeks. I thought, well, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. And I was driving to a chamber lunch the next day, answered my phone, even though I don't 99% of the time driving. And it was my ophthalmologist. They said, can you see Dr. Tsai today? It might be a 2 hour wait, but you need to go see him. So I am so grateful to Griffin and Reed for that kind of follow-up. Went to Dr. Tsai's office and watched how busy he was, just going in and out, in and out. And I thought, man, he's booked. He finally came in, said, Nick, I'm going to speak some jargon to the technician on my left, be looking at your eyes, and then when I'm done, I'll kind of see where we're at. And I'll still never forget, Nick, you have cancer. We'll take out your eye. If it hasn't spread to the liver and the lungs, you should be okay. The gal at the front desk can set your next appointment. Now, it's not like I wanted a hug, but it's just like, boy, talk about tearing off the Band-Aid. So I sat there for about 30 seconds, chatted with the technician, and then went and scheduled my next appointment. Now, I've had several other oncologists, but I do want to say this. While oncologists can be very direct, I also find them to be some of the most compassionate and loving physicians there are, because they are with their patients for the whole journey, and not all of us make it. So I have the utmost respect for oncologists. If you're a surgeon, you're in and out, but oncologists are there and they see your highs and lows. So anyway, I had to get an MRI and CT scan, and got that to make sure I hadn't gotten to my liver or my lungs, which it hadn't, thank goodness for that. About a month later, I had the appointment to have my eye removed. And actually want to back up for just half a second again, because I have been so blessed with Dr. Tony Tsai, my ocular oncologist, and then was actually chatting, frankly, with my ex-wife, because she had a good friend that worked for Vision Services, VSP, Vision Services, something, and she came back and said, Dr. Alex Grant is probably the best eye surgeon this side of the Mississippi. So felt great for the oncologist, great for my surgeon. Had the surgery, I came out, was told to leave the patch on like for 3 or 4 days, so I did that, and my wife goes, well, let's go up and see how it looks. It's like, no, I need to do this on my own. I need to see. So go up and just so slowly. I thought, well, it's not a great long-term look, but not a bad look. So I had to wait about a month for the prosthetic artist, because the eye kind of has to readjust. And when I first heard prosthetic, I couldn't get Sammy Davis Jr. out of my head with a kind of big glass eye. But luckily we have come so far. And again, Eric Lindsay was my prosthetic artist and just did a beautiful job. I found the process fascinating. I learned more about stuff I wish I never knew anything about for the rest of my life. But he poured a cold gel into my eye. Then apparently that made a mold that he could use. When I was gone, he turned that into a wax mold. I went back like 2 weeks later. He put the wax mold in my eye, took it out, carved it, put it back in, carved it, and then, okay, we're good. And then make the polycarbonate or whatever it is. And I sat about 3 feet away while he sat there and hand painted it. Fortunately, his background was actually sculpting and painting, so it was actually a perfect combination, nothing medically related at all. So I just stumbled into amazing care, and I've had great insurance coverage throughout this journey. And also do want to tell for the people listening, part of my free therapy has been my blog at Photography by Nikolai, and that has helped me. I've kept it up since 2018. There's about a 4-year gap, but I've now picked it up again, and we'll get to that. When I was chatting with Dr. Sai during one of the visits back around late 2018, I said, what does the 5-year window look like? And he goes, because there was basically no statistical survival rate if it came back. It wasn't even like stage 1 through 4. It's like 1, 2A, and 2B, if I remember correctly. And 1 was like your A student, 2A was kind of like a C student, and 2B, and I apologize to anyone listening, this is just my sense of humor and my way of keeping things within my boxes, kind of get your papers in order. I'm a C student, so based on the way that came out. And so I said, well, what does it look like after that? He goes, Nick, if you wake up, enjoy your day. And I thought, well, that's not bad advice for all of us as we go out throughout the days. We need to find the joy in each and every day. And what I've tried to do with my blog is keep the cancer as a character actor. It's really about faith, family, friends, Giants baseball, golf, just things I like. If anyone wants to check it out, you can certainly find out what I've been up to for the last 8 years: weddings, funerals, dinners, anniversaries, birthdays, celebrations. You have to have honest to God good mindset, which isn't easy always to do. So twice a year for the last 6 years, I've been getting 2 MRIs a year, plus some blood work, plus a chest x-ray, and it always been coming back clean. And late September 2024, not quite so fortunate, found a spot on my liver, and I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing, but I'm sure a lot of listeners have their online portals, and I saw it before the doctor did. It said there was a spot on the liver, and I thought, okay, not good. So I called him and said, hey, just wanted to let you know, apparently there's a spot on my liver. I already saw it on the online portal. I know you probably haven't even had a chance to check it out yet because they come up so quick. So he checked it out. He calls me the next day. He goes, Nick, for your type of cancer, there's a great guy in UC Davis. Well, I'm in El Dorado Hills, which is about 20 minutes east of Sacramento, about 90 minutes from Lake Tahoe, and about 2 hours from San Francisco, about half an hour from UC Davis. So he goes, there's a really good guy in UC Davis and probably the best in the country in San Francisco. I said, okay, we're going to San Francisco. So had my first appointment with Dr. Kevin Kim over Zoom, and chatted a little bit. He goes, we'll have to have our next appointment in person. But then sure enough, the online portal, looked at it, like I think it was September 24th, just like 2 days ago, this past 1 year. So I've been here a year. So
and we're glad you are.
Yes, thank you. Amen. And sure enough, there it was, Uveal melanoma. And he called it early, but I think if it kind of looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, it is a duck. And him calling it early before the biopsy gave me about a 3-week jump on the therapy I was going to be going through. So I'm very grateful for that. But about mid-October, I had the biopsy, and I was all set to go. They said, no, you have to stay here for 4 hours in a hospital bed because with this biopsy of the liver, you could bleed out. And I thought, oh, okay, great. So I didn't bring a book, didn't read anything to do, but I'm a lifelong Giants fan, and they weren't playing the Dodgers, but someone was playing the Dodgers. So I hope someone beats the Dodgers. So I can't remember who they were playing, but I was just watching the game, and halfway through the game, let out some loud expletive. And the nurse came in. She goes, one of the nurses asked about you. It's like, oh, don't worry about him. He's just watching the game. And so I had the biopsy, went home, and then sure enough, they did let me know it is, in fact, uveal melanoma, treatable but not curable, which is kind of the politically correct version of terminal. And when I met with Dr. Kevin Kim, he outlined the total procedure and said, he goes, I have patients that are still rocking and rolling after 5 to 7 years. I thought, well, okay, that's great news. It's not like it's tomorrow, but it's like apparently 5 to 7 years and you're a rock star. So hopefully I can be an anomaly and keep on trucking. Because to everyone out there, every year we are here is another year of advancements in technology and care and cure. And I think hopefully one good thing about AI, why it can't develop medicines without knowing what I'm talking about, I think it can do modeling faster, and hopefully we can even have more progress, whether it's what I'm going through or any kind of cancer, or frankly anyone that has any kind of disease, especially terminal. So hopefully that will work out. But I'm actually part of a clinical trial program process, and for my first infusion, I had gone through all of this through October. My wife and I were going to Mexico the last week of October, and I'll back up to about August. We were scheduling this trip, and we probably debated way too long on whether or not we should get travel insurance. And I finally said, well, what could possibly come up? Duh, terminal cancer. Yeah, so we told Dr. Kim, is like, can I get my first infusion when we get back as opposed to getting it beforehand? So he goes, yeah, sure. So we go on vacation. We have a great time. And I can't remember the exact sequence of events, but I thought, oh, we'll have to get up early, but not real early. Well, I had to do blood work. So we got back, and we ended up getting back at 10 p.m., had to get up at 1 a.m. to get to San Francisco, get the blood work, get the infusion, and knock on wood, we waited till afterwards because I got the infusion on a Thursday, and Sunday morning I woke up about 2 in the morning. I thought, I can't see. I'm blind, and I only have one eye. I can't lose my... And better part of valor, didn't wake up my wife since there wasn't anything we could do, so I'm sure she was pleased with that. But got up the next morning, and I thought I was about 90% blind. Everything in the distance was gray and fuzzy, and I couldn't see anything at all up. Well, I shouldn't say anything. We got a 30x magnifying glass, put my font on my text as big as possibly could, and I could barely read those. So went back to my ocular oncologist and took heavy steroids for about 2 weeks, and it started to improve. But going back to the great care I have, Aaliyah Trong, I think she's like the clinical director of research, but I call her my cancer concierge. Sweetest, kindest human being I think I've ever met in my life. Takes care of all the MRIs, scheduling anything and everything I need. I think I could ask her for a blueberry muffin recipe, and she'd gladly send it to me. So I'm there talking to Tony Tsai, and he wanted to talk to Kevin Kim. But I knew if he'd got the office, it'd just be the general number. I said, well, let me text Aaliyah. So 30 seconds later, there's Dr. Kevin Kim and Dr. Tony Tsai chatting. It's like, hey, Tony, hey, Kevin, how are you? It's like they were old friends. But it's just that blessed situation I'm in with care and being able to connect them, because I was supposed to have another infusion. And if I had, without curing the eye problem first and all those steroids, I in all likelihood would have been permanently blind.
What trial are you on?
The two drug infusion was Opdivo and Yervoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what caused you to lose your eyesight from the infusion? Did they explain it?
It was basically, there was a certain swelling going on. My ocular oncologist, Dr. Tsai, showed me the curve, but my oversimplification is, the two drugs working together were running about 10,000 RPMs throughout my entire body, just creating havoc and everything, helping with the cancer too, but just really goofing everything up. Because in addition to that, I also had a rash from head to toe. I mean, like a really bad rash, but I couldn't see it. Yeah, so that was the upside. But Mela kept saying, "Oh, you look awful." It's like, you don't have to say anything. I can't friggin' see it. So that was November. That was the entire month of November, and that finally got taken care of. And so my next infusion was December 7th, and December 5th, that Thursday. So a good friend of mine, lifelong friend, and God bless friends that you have in your community, family, friends, life group, whatever you have. Known Kevin for 50 years. He took me down to get my infusion. It's like a 14-hour day up and back by the time we did everything. Pulled back in the driveway, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, Nick, I was glad to do it, but never doing this again. He goes, let me know when the next one is. I get choked up even thinking about that. It's just, you need those people in your life to go through this. I've sat there and thought, I don't know how anyone can do it alone. So did that on Thursday, went back that Friday back to the city because our daughter was having her baby shower. And then Saturday was the shower. Saturday morning we did family photos. Saturday was the shower, ended at 3. My wife's always the last one to leave. We leave at 4, go back to the hotel. And right around 3 o'clock, I just started going south. We got home that Sunday, and I was just chills, fever, no appetite, severe and chronic diarrhea, lost about 25 pounds in 10 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I don't want to diminish anybody that has been served in the armed forces and been a POW. My son's in the Army, but I looked like I was sleeping about 16 to 18 hours a day. When I did get up, it was either to run to the bathroom or have my wife just shy of virtually spoon feeding me. So again, we had to stop the steroids, start to get my weight back on. Luckily, and December 23rd and 24th, December 23rd was a MRI. December 24th was not an infusion, but just kind of a checkup with the doctor. And our kids live in San Francisco, which has worked out great. And I'll get more back to that point in regard to part of my decision for choosing San Francisco. But able to really kind of enjoy Christmas. Was no life with the party, but my appetite was back a little bit and able to enjoy dinner and brunch and so forth. And so the steroids were kind of really kicking in. I thought, okay, October, November, December, they're gone. Let's start to, while the drugs were horrible to my body, they did help with the cancer. And I'm going to back up because back during that time when I was doing so bad in December, I was never like, I want to die, but it's like, God, if it's not going to get better, you don't have to wake me up. And what I mean by that was I didn't want to be going through all this to feel better in February. And sorry, Nick, your cancer has spread everywhere. It's like, couldn't we have just bypassed that whole process? Because December was hard for me and for my wife. It was tough. You have to fight. You got to have that mindset, faith, family, friends, and you got to fight. So I think I'm probably the only person that went into January 1st with a New Year's resolution of wanting to put on 15 to 20 pounds as fast as conceivably possible. So thank goodness for the football playoffs. Not that I didn't need an excuse to eat, because I don't think I bought probably store-bought cookies in decades. I liked sweets, but apparently I needed a 3-package of family-sized double-stuffed Oreo cookies, but that's what football playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to look for the silver linings and getting able to eat unlimited Oreos. While it's not worth what you went through, at least it's a perk.
yeah. And and watching the football. So January was really just about, frankly, not much more than gaining weight and productive rest. My digestive system had started to work again. Don't need to go into details on that, but that started to work. Obviously got my appetite back, but was still super weak, and then got my infusion. And the doctor sat there and said, he goes, in all honesty, Nick, he goes, there's supposed to be 4 rounds of the 2-drug infusion, but there's really no formal process and protocol. It's not like it's breast cancer, and God bless all the money they've raised where they know what happens to overweight women, redheads, black women, and everything else under the sun from the research they've done. It's kind of like, well, Nick, let's try this and see what happens. Is kind of where we're at with this type of cancer. And I'm sure a lot of you folks are out there with this are finding that out. So he goes, we're just going to go ahead and do the 1 drug. Your body clearly can't tolerate the 2 anymore. And at that same point in time, when they did the MRI and CT scan, I was so insanely grateful. It had shrunk by like just 10%, which isn't much, but it shrunk by like 10%. It's like, things are going the right direction. So we went to the 1 drug, and I had a few very modest fevers, but for the first 2 infusions, I think, but nothing for the last 7 months. So the 1 drug infusion is working great. I've been getting MRIs every 6 weeks, and the infusion is about every 3 to 4 weeks. And I go to San Francisco. So when I do the MRI, that's like on a Wednesday. The infusion and the oncologist is on a Thursday. So our kids live in the Marina district. So blessed that I can stay with them. And then they had their first son, so our brand new grandbaby that I get to see every 6 weeks and play with him, and a bed to stay in and not a cold hotel room. So insanely grateful for that. Grateful for my cancer concierge. Grateful for insurance. because I had great insurance, and then this past February I became a Medicare baby. I thought, well, what's going to happen when I go on Medicare? Because I mean, I haven't been out virtually a dime. I mean, I'm just so crazy grateful. And then, I picked out what I hoped would be a good supplemental care plan or Medicare PPO plan. And again, the insurance has worked out so good. But when you turn 65, for all the folks 65 and older that are listening, you start to get all these paper bill statements, not bills, but statements. And January through June 30th of this year, I was the $350,000 man. It's just like, oh my goodness. I mean, from like 0 to 60, I was a profit center, but not anymore. Yeah. So, but I'm just part of that gratitude with friends, family, great medical team, great insurance. So, as we chat here today, I'm basically on my 1 year anniversary of still being here. And I should back up. This past June, I'd never been to Europe like at all, and so we went to Paris for about 5 days, then Provence for 5 days with our daughter Gina, son-in-law Stephen, and our 4-month-old grandson. And I would definitely recommend flying with like 6 months or younger, because when it came to customs, the 1,000 people are over here, the 5 of us went over there, stamp and go. Like if a kid is 12 years or younger, you get to bypass all that. But given that Luca was only 4 months old, I mean, the parents dealt with all the logistics of the stroller and everything, but he wasn't mobile, and eating wasn't a problem. So little kids are great to travel with, and he was quite the trooper. But we had the best time. I mean, you gotta, and maybe I mean, I'm very blessed. I'm 65, worked hard my whole life. I'm half blind and terminal cancer, so if I can go to Europe, I'm going to. But even if it's going to a state park, 2-hour drive to the ocean, 2-hour drive to the mountains, going to see your grandkids that are 2 hours away, you have to take those moments and find those moments of joy in your schedule. Even if you're still working, you got to find that time, whatever that may be. And then this past August, wife and I celebrated, let's see, can't screw this up, 13 years. So we just went to Mendocino for a long weekend, beautiful spot on the coast. It was 100 degrees in Sacramento that weekend and 65 over there, so I was so blessed, and had a couple of great dinners and drank some good wine and had a good time. And so, I think I was saying here I am at 1 year, so very glad to be here at 1 year. And 7 years since I lost the eye, and I was sitting there thinking, well, I'm not sure how lucky 7 is, but I guess the flip side of lucky 7 is I'm still here and still going. And about 5 more days, I go back to another infusion, more blood work. Sure glad blood regenerates itself, because I've had so much friggin' blood taken out of me. So I'm grateful for that. And I think, it's just, I love playing golf, love watching the golf majors, love my Giants baseball. I enjoy our church, enjoy our life group, got good friends, good family, good support. Got a very dry sense of humor. I don't know how much that came across in this, but it does in my blog. If you go to and read 1 or 2, find it interesting at all, I suggest going all the way back to 2018. Just got to keep scrolling back to the older post to when I originally lost my left eye. I have the audacity to think it's not a bad read and pretty good, and hopefully a laugh or a tear or something relatable. So, but I think that's kind of my story. So if you have any questions, or if I just rambled on, I don't know.
I think you told your story wonderfully. First of all, I would like to say congratulations on your new grandbaby and your anniversary. Those are very big things, and I'm thrilled that you are here to experience that and be there with your family. I think that's really wonderful. And then one thing I just wanted to touch on is the day that they told you had the cancer initially, they told you they were going to take your eye out in that same appointment?
Yes, and I think, and actually I'm glad I did, because when it came to the surgery, he goes, "You haven't had any radiation, have you?" I said, "No." He goes, "Good, it makes it much easier for the eye to come out, and leaves a lot less potential scar tissue." And he goes, "If you get the radiation, it's just like putting your eye in a microwave anyway. So it's not like you're really potentially have the option of preserving any sight." I mean, the eye's
Yeah. So
gone.
yeah, that had to be like a very shocking, like, not only do you have cancer, but you are losing your eye. Because I think a lot of patients, it's a process of first they find out they have cancer, and then eventually they find out they're going to lose their eye. But for you, it was all in one appointment. Like that was like a big whammy.
Yeah, it was like a ton of bricks, and we have had so many bad fire seasons here in Northern California. So I actually have an eye patch. I've not been able to. I've been fortunate. I haven't had to wear it much because the prosthetic is just a thin little shell. Looks like a broken seashell. And then what the surgeon did was he tied a small silicone ball to the existing eye muscles, which are 3, 6, 9, and 12. Pardon me. So that's what even allows it to track a little bit. But dust or hot air or whatever can get back behind that little shell. But that can be amusing come Halloween because I'll be in the grocery store and there's some little 4-year-old just, look, mommy, a pirate. so
That's
so
awesome.
mom just wants to shrink up and disappear. So that's always kind of amusing. But I mean, I'm so glad for the prosthetic eye. I mean, people can't tell. The ophthalmologist, when I had an eye appointment, she goes, do you care if I look at it? She goes, no. She goes, I'm looking at it at like 100x, and it still is amazing. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, they are works of art. It's truly amazing how lifelike they are.
Yeah, but the prosthetic artist was funny. I said, well, maybe I'll get one and put it like a dollar sign on it or whatever. He goes, well, I got the mold. Let me know. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I love that your outlook is so positive. And like you said, that's not always easy to do. But I think if it's what you strive for, and it can be kind of a baseline, you don't always hit it every day, but it's always kind of the foundation. And I love that you have so many things that you're looking forward to. I think that's really wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you have to wake up and, life is hard, no matter what it is. But life isn't bad, but it can be hard, and I try to wake up and try to find 3 things I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's just my hot cup of coffee and my dog Lila on my lap, and yeah, so that's just no matter how small, or just count those blessings. You can't. Well, I shouldn't say you can't. Everybody has their story, but you just can't be negative, or it's going to get you down fast.
Yeah. Well, it definitely doesn't help you.
No.
No. I love that you're so optimistic. I think that's really refreshing to hear. And especially with the side effects you had. So clinical trials, we always love to hear someone who's doing a clinical trial because they're so needed. And you really went through the ringer. I mean, it sounded like you had all the side effects.
Yeah, no, it was November and December were hard. I mean, I'm a very visual person. I enjoy photography. And the thought of being blind, I mean, that brought up a whole new ball of wax for me, my wife. I mean, life in general. And for people out there that have lost their eye, they know. But having 2 eyes is so much more than just vision. I mean, it's your depth perception, spatial relationships with glass. For anyone that drinks wine, I'm sure you've maybe been at a bar and you get your own little carafe. You have to pour yourself into the glass. And the first couple of times I did that, I took the carafe and poured it all over the countertop, because now I learned my lesson that carafe has to touch the lip of the wine glass, because I just have no spatial relationship with glass. And it's and even with photography, if you look through the viewfinder and you press the autofocus button, you get those little red dots on what you're focusing on. I thought, well, man, now that I have only one eye, is going to know exactly what I'm looking at. And because a lot of times, whether you hunt and maybe you close your left eye when you look through a scope or whatever, and I look through, press that button, and those red dots are clear over there or clear over there. It's like, that's not what I'm looking at. It's like the eye-brain thing. I mean, it's just so many little things, because people go, oh, Nick, you'll adapt, and, pardon me, but it's like you have no idea what you're talking about. Because also, like touch screens, like old cars going to those friggin' touch screens, I can't bring myself to touch the thing because of depth perception. I mean, it's just so many funny little things, and you learn little tricks. Like I like to hold something in my left hand, then touch it with my right, but can't do that when you're driving. So,
yeah, it's funny. A lot of those things you will never know until you experience it.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just I truly wish everyone the best that is going through this, and wish everyone is a family member or close friend or whatever that is going through this, and hopefully you have someone that you can lean on and count on, and groups that that will take you to lunch or take you to breakfast when you're not feeling well, or go out and play some golf, or just go for a walk with your dog, and God bless. Wish everybody the best. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. And we will link the blog. And do you have any other socials that you're on?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, I think, is just my name, Nikolai Konovaloff, and there's not many Nikolai Konovalov, so you put that into Facebook, I'm sure I'll pop up. And just photography by Nikolai, Nicholai. So yeah.
Check out the blog. Let them know what you think. Leave some comments. We always love to be supportive and leave comments. Leave a comment on this episode too. Let us know what you thought of the episode. And then that brings me to my next point. Please subscribe. You guys, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe, share, leave us hearts. Every little bit helps. It really, really does. So the more viewers we have, the more interaction we have, the more sponsors we have, and the sponsors are who funds this podcast. So huge, huge thank you to our sponsors. This podcast does not function without our sponsors. So if you enjoy this free information, please like and subscribe. Also, please go check out the sponsors' websites, see what they have to offer. You might find some great resources there. And then also go to acureinsight.org. You will find wonderful resources on our website, I guarantee. And up in the top corner, there is a button to subscribe to our newsletter. Please do that. We send it out once a month. We also send emails occasionally. If there's news on a clinical trial or something that we think is really relevant to the community, we'll send that out as well. So especially if you're not into social media, the newsletter is going to be a great place for you to get that information. We have a Tuesday night Zoom group. You can find information for that on our website as well as in the newsletter and on the socials. If you can't find the link, email me, Megan@acureinsight.org. I'm happy to send you the link. Every Tuesday night that Zoom group is going to meet. It's got 2 rooms, one for regular and one for metastatic. So you don't have to get into anything a little too heavy if you're not ready. You can be with people who are where you are in your journey, who get it and who understand. So if you need that support group, please join us on Tuesday nights. And that is all for me, you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week.